everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode is going to be checking out a piece by the established multidisciplinary artist known as Michael Strevens. This episode we're going to be talking about visual rhythm, we're going to talk about energy through vibrance, and we're also going to talk about the really unique results of mixed media expression. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, it kind of floods you in our initial introduction, right? Certainly is a very bright first impression, very striking as well. Of course, you have this very light background, certainly going to catch the eye, and of course you have all these colors on top of that as well. And so what's likely to catch your eye, you're kind of going to scan through here, right? It is kind of a chaotic composition in that first impression, but my eye is drawn to this small singular subject here. Of course, standing in the negative space, there is kind of a dark on light contrast, certainly pops out and catches the eye. Appears to be standing within this kind of geometric scape. It's hard to say exactly what we're looking at here, but there's no doubt that we see this lone subject kind of in this endless maze of these geometric forms here. And so with this in mind, like I said, it's kind of made up these like endless geometric prisms all throughout there. Of course, gives us a sense of boundary, a sense of form, almost like a maze within the work at hand as well. And what you'll also notice are these, right? You have not only multiple layers, but multiple colors as well. So we have blue here, we have purple, and it goes into a pink, and then lighter, all the way into this kind of white void that it falls off into. And so in the realm of color, of course, they're working together, kind of analogous color scheme. They are very close to each other, so they're not going to feel too jarring. They are going to kind of work together, but there's no doubt, of course, the impact of that very vibrant and very bright visual impact for sure. So that's also really important to note. And this vibrancy is incredibly important, right? I think this is what really drew my eye in that first introduction. It's kind of this light background. It certainly just pops out. You're not going to miss it, and it kind of awakens the viewer in that introduction as well. But even past that first impression, you're still kind of standing in awe at the immense vibrancy of the work at hand. And this actually gives us a lot of visual energy, right? Of course, you do have that white light, so it's always going to give this kind of radiating visual energy, but we also have this kind of visual rhythm within the work at hand, right? So it's already incredibly vibrant. So imagine if we just had this blue layer on top, if it was the white background and the blue, it's already going to be incredibly vibrant. But what we see is the artist actually translates that. So not only we have this incredible vibrance, but it kind of copies itself endlessly. So that visual rhythm, of course, it is harmonious in that visual rhythm, but that vibrance feels incredibly energetic. So it's not going to feel, harmonious or balanced. It's going to feel very vibrant due to that incredible energy here. And that incredible use of light, incredible use of color, all very important when we're looking at this work. And so what you notice, there's almost no place of rest for the eye. This blue, it's not, this blue isn't jarring. You could certainly rest on it, but there is still a visual energy within that blue. So it's kind of inescapable. The eye has no place to rest amidst such a bright composition here. And I don't say that in a bad way. It is very energetic. This catches my eye, and I don't think that's in a negative way by any means. And so, we see this kind of use of negative space, right? This is incredibly important. In that first introduction, that's really what caught my eye. Of course, you have that dark on light silhouette, but this negative space gives us, of course, a sense of depth, a sense of boundary, so many different things you can really point to there. But that negative space, of course, implies each other by one another's existence there. So we have this negative space, which feels it's like the only path which the subject may try to take. So that's really interesting as well. And so our setting, like I said, it's very strange. You have all these different geometric forms. It's kind of like a maze in many different ways, right? And then you have, of course, all of these layers. If our subject is, around 6 feet tall, I would say it's probably around 15 feet tall, these walls here. So this place is, quite large there for sure. I am in the West, so I just use feet. Got to change that, right? But there's no doubt that it feels like a maze in some way or another, right? There's kind of these endless corners, kind of go through it. It doesn't look like there's one set way to get through this. So it gives a bit of curiosity within the work at hand. If you're a viewer looking at this work, you're going to feel a little bit invited to interact with it a bit deeper. And so our subject almost feels lost in a way. This subject isn't kind of going in one direction. The subject almost appears to be standing there kind of looking around. It's hard to say for sure. That's kind of just the vibe that I get from this work. But with that in mind, what do y'all see when you view this piece? Do you think the person is lost? Do you think they're finding their way? What do you think we're looking at here? All very important questions when we're looking at this work. And so the artist actually said this is a mixed media piece, so that's also very important as well. We're going to take a look at that just one second, but I actually want to connect that to something that it reminded me of real quick. And what does this remind me of, you ask? Well, the Sega logo, and that is obviously because of the layers, right? At first, I didn't really know why I drew that connection, but you have that blue, and then you also have those layers as well. It almost feels like an old school kind of retro video game, kind of Tron, if you will. So I just wanted to kind of point that out real quick. Not a direct comparison, just kind of reminded me of that. And so that definitely reminded me of that. And before we head out here, I'm just going to take a quick note on this kind of mixed media expression that we're looking at here. So I was talking to the original artist, just trying to get some insight on how this work was created. So the artist said, of course, original artist Michael Strevens, really nice work here. The Glitch Lab app, I believe that's on Android. That's used for the pattern as well as the 3D mapping. And then there was some post-edit on Glitch as well as Visco as well. So if y'all want to reference that, kind of think about how this work was made, it's really the best way to do that. At first I saw this, I was like, digital rendering, maybe a very long digital illustration, so many different questions I have, but this certainly answers that. It is a mixed media expression, so not only using one medium, but using multiple mediums with some post edits as well. So you really see the unique result of that, right? You can create something initially that you can draw on top of it, you can edit on top of it, you can, do color corrections, so many different options in the kind of the digital art world. So really interesting, really nice mixed media expression as well. And I hope y'all enjoyed today. This one certainly caught my eye. I knew I had to write about it, whether it's this incredible visual energy, whether it's this kind of visual rhythm, whether it's this incredible vibrance, so many different things we talked about today. So I hope y'all enjoyed. If you guys did, go check out artist Michael Strevens. Like I said, always doing some really good stuff. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.